1902. So this is Joe Lisbony, WB5SDV, and welcome to the April 16th Tyler Amateur Radio Club meeting. So welcome all members and any visitors. Glad you made it today. And I'd like to thank Josh Kaufman, KE5 FGC, for setting this up, because I had no clue how to do it. So hopefully this all works well. If not, we'll just blame Josh. Anyway, I think we'll do fine. So first up on the agenda would be a net report. Either Josh or Michael have that information, how many people are in the net, last 2 meter net?
Yeah, give me 1 second. I've got that.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second.
And while you're looking for that, on the 10 meter net, we've been averaging probably around a dozen people, and sometimes up to 15. So it's been well attended and very enjoyable net.
All right, you should be able to see my screen. We had on the 24th, we had 50, the second 43, 45, 50, 44, 51, 48, and 40 for an average of whatever it says on the screen, 47.6.
Okay. Thank you, Josh. Wayne, you with us?
Yep.
All right. You can give us a repeater report.
Okay. Well, all three repeaters, best I can tell, are still still working just fine, which is a good thing, because you know, with all that's going on now, everything seems to be just working. Have not had a chance, because we're supposed to stay home. Haven't had a chance to check out the receiver on 3696 to try swapping out the card or anything. But it seems to be mostly fine. So hopefully before long. That's all I got.
All right, Wayne, thanks. Josh, treasurer's report.
All right, we currently have 87,1334 in the bank, 73 active members as of today. Just a reminder that most of our members renew on May 31st. So if you want to start sending in your renewals, that'd be great. If at all possible, if you'd renew online, that would be great. If not, we will still accept a check in the mail. And that's all I got.
All right, thank you, Josh. All right, the ETEX report. Is Mark there?
Yes, I am here.
All right, anything upcoming, anything to report? Any words of wisdom from ETEX?
Just want to say that we are having a health and welfare net every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon at 3 p.m. Ed N1EW is the instigator of that, and typically the net control. Also, have a little chance for some more severe weather, possibly this weekend. So everybody stay aware. That's all in the report.
All right, thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. Yeah, I've checked into the health and welfare net a couple times and found it enjoyable. I found out the range that my 2 meter works simplex, which is good and bad. I decided I need a better antenna. So, all right, moving on to testing. I'm assuming that everything is canceled for the moment, but give us an update on that, Butch.
Okay, there was no test session in April, so we're still waiting to see when the next one. Well, let me see. We'll set the next test session for May after we have an idea what they're going to do about whether or not when we can get out, if we can start moving. So I'm holding up on that. But while waiting around for that, playing around with a little useless trivia, I did come up with a few figures here as far as the current membership of the club. There are 48% of the membership have extra class license, 3% have advanced, 34 have general, and 14 have tech class licenses.
All right, Butch, thank you. That's pretty impressive. I didn't realize we had that many extras. So,
And then there's one member, of course, with no license that's a spouse of an active member. So,
okay, that was we have more upgraded licensees than I ever suspected. All right, thanks, Butch. Is Gene there? You have anything to report on any regulatory changes?
I have no report to make, unfortunately. I'm not aware of anything that's going to affect us greatly. There has been some action on the 3 gigahertz band, and ARRL has filed an opposition to what FCC is doing, but nothing's falling out there.
Okay, thanks, Gene. I did notice some information from other sources that showed that the FCC is said they were going to approve an allocation of a frequency that might interfere with the GPS signals, and the government entities are strongly objecting. So I think President Trump may weigh in and stop that. That would be kind of foolish to interfere with GPS. So anyway, hams don't use it directly to communicate, but we do use it for a lot of other reasons, and we certainly don't want it jammed. So anyway, thank you, Gene. So how many people do we have checked in, Josh? Roughly.
Well, we have 25 people online right now.
Okay, so we'll say the attendance for this meeting was 25, which isn't bad at all. Appreciate everyone who checked in.
And there's 7 people on YouTube, actually, so that makes 32.
32. We'll change that to 32. All right, thank you. We'll go to Michael, and he has a little bit to say about the upcoming elections.
Yes, thank you. Well, according to bylaws, I believe we're supposed to have nominees or candidates presented at the April meeting. Well, due to the pandemic and such, we don't have those ready. We are still taking nominees for candidates, and so please send those to me, W5FOW, K0MEB or KB9LFZ. If you see any of us or you talk to us on the radio, you can do that, or email us. My information is on QRZ. So anyway, we wanted to think about what we're going to do if we can't meet for a May meeting, because we're supposed to elect new officers in May. And I think we would like to put it up for a vote or a poll where we can see, I guess, postponing elections until the next time we can meet in person. So should we delay the elections, basically? So, as long as we get everybody saying, yeah, that's fine, we're going to consider that a good vote. There's not really an easy way for us to actually hold an official vote at this time. But so if everybody could just select what they would like, the people who are at least on Zoom, I know. That's all I really had. We really need some candidates for president and vice president. We have at least an at-large board member that's rerunning, and I've got to finish talking to everybody else. But if you have anybody, and if you'd like to run, please send us your information. Myself, W5FOW, K0MEB, or KB9LFZ. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you, Michael. So we have any results?
Yes, it looks like 84%. So 21 out of 25 people said yes. Nobody voted no to delay.
Okay. We'll we'll delay the elections until we find out more information about when we can meet again. We can revisit that at a later date. All right. And of course, the next meeting, we don't know whether we'll be able to hold it live or not. Probably we'll be doing it the same way we are now, but we will definitely keep you informed, and we'll make that decision probably in about 3 weeks or so prior to the next meeting. One of the things we didn't bring up at the last meeting because we didn't have one. I meant to, but we did discuss it on the net a few times, is the club is looking into purchasing some of the Arrow OS 146/140 antennas. It's a commercial J-pole antenna that's a really well built, nice sturdy antenna. It's a good primary antenna, good MCOM antenna, a spare antenna, whatever you want to use it for. But if you buy one outright from Arrow, they're about $59 each plus the shipping and handling, which I'm not sure what that would bring it up to, but we can buy a pack of 10 or more, and they'll ship the whole pack to the club, and I could actually have it shipped to my house, and then I could deliver them to people for about $42 each. So you can get an antenna that would normally cost you over $60 for about $42. And they're broken down, but there's only 3 or 4 parts to them, so it's real easy to put together. And I know several people have them, and they work quite well. So what we need is we need to find out anyone that wants to put a request in to order one. Email Josh and let us know. We need at least 7 orders before we can. I want one, and I think we're going to get a couple for the club for our future loaner radios that we're talking about doing. So anyway, please let us know if you are interested, and we'll get those on order if we get enough people to order them. It's a really good deal and really good antenna, and well worth having. If you wanted to, you could build them yourself, but I think just the materials would cost you that much. There's some machine parts on there and some aluminum tubing you had to buy, so it's a good deal any way you look at it. All right, of course, moving on to newer business. Josh has already brought up that it's time for club dues. You can start paying now, and I know some people may be in a crunch now, but if you can pay your dues, the sooner the better, and that way the club will know kind of where we're at earlier in the year. We are an ARRL affiliated club, and I would like to encourage anyone who is not a member of the ARRL to join the club. We used to have to have 51% membership, ARRL members, in order to maintain our affiliation, but we no longer have to do that. But it's still a good deal to become a member. There's a lot of benefits, and so we would encourage everyone that isn't a member of the ARRL to consider joining. Just getting the QST magazine makes it worth the price. It's $49 for 1 year, $95 for 2 years, and $140 for 3 years. So because of the things that are going on, economically to some people right now, doesn't affect a lot of people in our club, but I'm sure it does some. The Board of Trustees has voted to award up to 4 1-year memberships to people that feel that they would like to become ARRL members but are not financially able. So the club will pay for up to 4 memberships. So if you would like to become a member, feel you can't afford it, please contact myself or one of the board members, and we will make sure that you get your ARRL membership. Also, we would like to extend that same thing to club membership for at least 4 people that would like to renew their membership in the club or join our club but feel that they really can't afford it this time. The club will actually pay for up to 4 memberships. And so the next order of business is because our bylaws state that we should that the primary goal of our club is to promote amateur radio, the hobby of amateur radio, and the technology and knowledge of electronics. So we feel that there's several things we need to do. We're looking into acquiring at least a couple complete UHF, VHF stations with coax and antennas, power supplies that we would loan out to new operators, especially new technicians, and let them get on the air for a while and feel things out before they make a decision on going out and buying equipment. They have more time to see how things work and get some information on what they may like to buy themselves. So we're looking at doing that in the future. We'd also like to put together a couple of HF stations as loaners for new operators that have their general class license. So anyone that has any of those type of things that they're not using and would like to donate it for that purpose, we'd certainly appreciate that. And our goal is to have at least a couple of each stations around for loaners. I know as a new ham, I was loaned an old clunker Motorola radio to get on a local repeater in Port Arthur, and it got me hooked, and I really enjoyed it. So anyway, that's something that's we really like to consider doing. Along those lines, we would like to also purchase things that the club needs to assist radio operators to maintain their antennas and check their stations out. The Board of Trustees voted to recommend to the club that we purchase an antenna analyzer, and we did a little research and decided one of the better ones out there is the Rig Expert AA600. And I looked at several sources, and they can be had for about $525 plus tax. They range up to $600, but there are 2 or 3 places that you can get them for about $525. So, and what we do with that, Butch is our technical captain who helps people with technical issues. So he would be the custodian of it, and he would come out and check your antenna if you needed it checked, or give you a primer on how to use that device and check it out to you. So it would be club property. And if Butch decides to is no longer that holds that position, it would pass on to the next person that takes his place and be available to club members. So it has a lot of features, and it does a lot of things for an antenna analyzer. It have the whole spec sheet on, but you can certainly look that up online. So right now, I would like to entertain a motion from the members, if we can do that somehow, Josh, to have a motion to spend the $525 plus tax to purchase that AA600 analyzer. And I guess the best we can do is if we get at least one yes, we'll call that a motion.
Yeah, so far we got 16 yeses.
Okay, so we'll call that a motion. That's the best we can do at the moment. So we have a motion, and since we have 16, I think we'd have a second. So I guess if we could put it up there again, Josh, and we'll vote on everyone is for the club purchasing that to vote one more time.
Wow. Okay. There's still 4 more people that have not voted, but it looks like we have 95% yes, 1 no.
Okay. We'll give them just a moment. Anyone that hasn't voted, instead of voted again, I think we can use that as the vote, but we have to adapt and overcome with the technology we have available to us. So we'll give you just a minute or 2 more. If you would like to approve that, vote yes. And if you do not approve, vote no. So give you a minute. We'll come back to that. And like I said, our goal in the future is to be able to get some that loaner equipment and loaner stations, and teach people how to use them, and give people the opportunity to get on the air as soon as they get their license. So anyway, has that vote come up any more, Josh?
No, it looks like we've got 22 yeses, 1 no, and 3 people abstaining.
Okay, so I will go with that is a yes, because the majority of the club voted yes on that are available today. And so we will proceed with that purchase. And like I say, Butch is the technical captain. He will maintain custody of it and learn how to use it himself, and be available sometimes to help people check their antennas. And he'll probably, and mentioned even maybe keeping a database of your antenna, so if you have problems, you can come back and check it again. Also, if someone needs to check it out, he can train you how to use it and we check it out. So, all right, thank you very much for that. All right. So now we're moving on to our program tonight. Wayne Hoskins has agreed to give us a presentation on the Tyler Amateur Radio Club's repeaters, and basically a little bit about how repeaters work, how our repeaters work, how they're connected, that sort of thing. And he has some pictures even. And so I'll turn that over to Wayne.
All right. Thanks, Joe. Let's see. Figure out how to use this technology here. So if I go to here, see if I can share my screen with the world. Here we go. All right. So you're seeing that title card, right?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Second time I've done that. All right. Yeah, like we mentioned earlier, recently, the last few weeks, Ed has been running this 2-meter simplex net, and I've been pleasantly surprised because it's been a long time since I've done 2-meter simplex. Station to station coverage is actually really good. The only people I can't hear are the people up in Hideaway, because that's down in a hole, and some of the people up north and on the fringes, but that works pretty good. And my antenna is a Ringo Ranger at about the bottom is about 25 feet up, which is not remarkable in terms of antenna. It works shockingly well. So I did a plot. Oh, I have to go over here. How do I make it go over here? That works. Okay, so here's a plot of station to station coverage from my house. If all of our antennas are a Ringo Ranger at 25 feet, and that's pretty good. But not surprisingly, higher is better. And so here is the plot for 50 feet, and with if my antenna was at 50 feet, I could hear Mark up in Hideaway, according to this thing, on simplex. And so that, the natural question that follows is why repeaters? Why is that a thing if simplex is this good with that little effort? And of course, some people live in a hole. The city of Hideaway is, down in the valley. Some people can't get their antenna high enough because of HOAs or other considerations, and on simplex, not everybody hears everybody anyway. And eventually, terrain, buildings, things get in the way. But simplex is shockingly good. Car-to-car coverage is even worse. So I did a plot of this is a mobile, a mobile on Broadway, right in front of the mall, and that's car-to-car coverage from right in front of the mall. It's not that good. It's decent. It's usable, but not nowhere near station to station coverage. And so for car-to-car simplex, we're talking, if we're using 146.94 like they did back in the early days as a simplex channel, that's what we're talking about. Everybody's receiving and transmitting on the same channel in their boxy little car there. And that works fine if the antennas can see each other, but sometimes we have a terrain problem. We don't really have mountains over here so much, but terrain, buildings, all manner of things get in the way, and the antennas can't see each other. The signal can't get over it. And so how do we fix that so that the mobile units can talk to each other? So that, well, if we were a taxi company, how we keep the taxi cabs talking to each other, or the buses or the ambulances, or us ham radio guys on our drive, to and from work whenever that starts back up again. So somebody long time ago, and no idea who, had the bright idea that, hey, we could put something in a location that can see both of these mobiles. can see both of these cars, and that happens to be a repeater. So now the mobiles listen on the repeater's transmit channel and transmit on its receive channel. The repeater is in a tall place, so it can see a really wide area. And one of the advantages of a repeater is that everybody, if you can hear the repeater, you hear exactly the same thing that everybody else hears. Can be a drawback too, but if you're on the fringe, you can't, nobody nearby you is going to hear you any better than anybody on the far side of the world or far side of the county. But yeah, everybody hears the same thing, so you don't have as much confusion. So that's what we got there. So a little bit of conceptual anatomy of a repeater station. So you take a receiver on one channel, 146.34, and a transmitter on another channel, 146.94. You plug the speaker jack of the receiver into the mic jack of the transmitter, and the carrier-operated relay of the receiver into the push-to-talk of the transmitter. And through some magic that we're going to skip over, or that we're going to cover in a minute, you can connect them to the same antenna high up on the tower, and everything that the receiver hears, the transmitter retransmits. That bit of magic, is filters. We use a combination of band pass and band stop filters. Band pass filters are really broad in their response. Band stop filters have a really sharp notch, but everything that's not in that notch, they pass from DC to daylight. Using both of those, we can make a duplexer. So typically we'll chain two of these things, combination band pass, band stop filters on each side, one on the receiver, one on the transmitter side, and then connect the common port of that to the antenna. All the transmit energy. The one thing you don't want to happen, one of many things you don't want to happen, is to have the transmitter power, your umpteen hundred watts of transmitter power, flow right into the front end of your receiver. That's a great way to blow it up. So that's one function of that. So the duplexer allows you to share an antenna. They're wonderful. They're a little bit of magic, but not very much. Each can's about the size of a fire extinguisher, give or take, for VHF. And so that's how we would draw. Okay, yeah. So this is your basic single repeater station. You got the transmitter, you got the receiver, you got the duplexer, you got the antenna. And sitting between the receiver and the transmitter is a controller. There's at least two things, two ancillary, what did I say? That we have to do with a repeater station. One of those is to send the station ID, just like we have to at our home stations. Oh, good, my internet's unstable. According to the who knows what. What is this doing? Anyway, and then so we got to do station ID, and then we need a timeout timer that will shut the repeater down if somebody say lays a brick on the push to talk button of their microphone and leaves it there for an hour. The controller does that. It can do other things, but that's the primary function. So this is the coverage of our 9.6 repeater, 3696, which is pretty good. This is mobile coverage. And why is this thing blinking at me? Okay, this is 147. And that's 444. Which is, yeah, pretty decent. Show you some photographs of the sites. This is the site on the East Loop where 147 and 444 are. Those are the radio cabinets sitting to the right of the duplexer cabinet. They're old Motorola MSR 2000s. They're a mid 80s redesign or rework of a 1970 era design. Yeah, they're a second generation Mycore basically. They're great. They just work. And you can see the duplexers there. That's on the East Loop. And 3696 is down on the southwest side of the world. Again, an MSR 2000 duplexer hanging on the wall. Little rack with the control and power and battery and stuff like that. And in terms, to show you the relative coverage, I've shown this before. So each of the three repeaters is a different color, and the way the plots are overlaid is misleading, but the point is that there are places that one repeater works and none of the others do. And it varies depending on where you are. But not surprisingly, they're kind of skewed in the direction that the repeater is. So where was I going next? Linking. So what is linking, and how do we do it? There's a couple of different topologies. The star topology is the easy one, where everything links to a central hub. You could also do a full duplex backbone, but that requires 3 repeaters at each point and not just the one. Those are much more expensive and complicated, and that's not what we use here. We use use the hub and spoke kind of topology. And we do that because of this varying coverage. This is this is kind of roughly handheld coverage, I think, give or take. And so one of the goals is, especially during Skywarn, that you can use a handheld, or you have a good chance of being able to use a handheld, no matter where you are, within practical limits, because sometimes the power goes out. So this is the diagram of our repeater system. You can see the southwest site there on the left, the east site on the right, and we have at the 9.6 site on the southwest side, we have a link radio. It's a half duplex link radio connected to a Yagi. That Yagi is about 30, maybe 40 feet off the ground, and we picked that height because that's as far as the feed line went when we rolled it up the tower. So that's where we put the antenna. It's looking at the 444 repeater on the east side of town, and then the 444 and the 147 can be linked together full duplex inside the controller. That's really nice. And so we can enable or disable any of those 2 link paths whenever we need to. It's generally up full time because we don't have the channel congestion. We don't need 3 separate channels. And the added coverage seems to be a really useful thing. So that's our system. Where was I next? Passive intermod. We have the VHF repeaters use a split PL arrangement where the receive PL tone is different from the transmit PL tone. Receive is 136.5 and transmit is 88.5. And that's because we're located really close to KTBB, the 600 kilohertz AM station. And what happens is that 600K AM carrier will mix with the 147 or any other transmitter. It'll mix in any rusty bolt or anything it can anywhere near that tower and make image products 600K above and below our transmitter. And those carry both the AM modulation and the FM modulation. So if we transmitted the same PL tone as we received, the receiver, no matter which place we put it, would hear that PL tone and lock the repeater up until the timeout timer turned it off. And then the next time it came back up, and that varies depending on weather, on weather conditions. But that's why we run that weird split PL arrangement. And that's why sometimes you'll hear a squealy squelch tail when the weather changes. That's that 600K mixing problem. That's a whole lot of fun. So I think that's all I've got. I don't know if we want to do questions, but I'm open to any. Anything I missed?
If anyone wants to ask a question, they can use the Q&A or chat function in Zoom and ask away. Not seeing anyone.
No, me neither. Well, maybe we covered it, or maybe we bored everybody. I don't know.
Okay, Wayne, I certainly appreciate that. You did a great job there. You covered the basics all the way up. So I think everyone that didn't already know about our repeaters knows about them and knows basically how they work. So I even learned a few things, never claimed to know everything, but I thought I knew more about repeaters than I did. So appreciate that.
You're welcome.
All right. Is there any other business to be brought before the club, or anybody have any questions? Let me know, because I think that's all we have for tonight. And I appreciate, Josh setting this up and everybody who participated and everything that went into this. And we may end up doing it again. Probably will, but we'll keep you informed and let you know as soon as we know if we're able to meet again and if we're going to meet and that sort of thing, and more on the elections. So any questions?
We had a question from Gene. He just wanted to know if any of the present board members are wanting to retire.
Well, I would like to retire.
Joe, this is Michael, W5FOW.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to need to step off the board this year. I've been on the board the last few years, but my time has just been real hectic lately, and I'm not going to leave the club or anything or get inactive, but I just don't have time to devote to the board right at the moment. So we will be needing nominations for vice president.
Okay, Michael. I we spoke about that before, and I totally understand that and appreciate all you've done and all you do. Like I say, I it's not high on my list of things to do this again, because it's a lot more work than meets the eye. I'll tell you that. However, if no one has any inkling to do this job, I would do it again, but I would prefer not to. So if anyone else wants to take this on, it's definitely open. But barring that, I would do it again. Not my wife was not crazy about the idea either, but if push comes to shove, I can do that again, but I would prefer someone else to take a shot at it. It's an experience, believe me. So anyway, if there's no further questions or comments, we'll give you.
It looks like Art raised his hand. Did you have something you wanted to say, Art? You can unmute yourself if you do. Maybe it was an accident.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'd just like to bring the club up to date a little bit on the equipment, Forrest Rathbun equipment. I have $50 in my pocket that I'll give to Josh whenever I can see him from sale of that equipment. And there's not much left. And with the approval of the board, whenever we can begin to meet again, I would suggest that I bring that stuff, what's left, and put it there. And if there's anything that anybody wants to just go ahead and take it. So that would be my recommendation. But I do have $50 to give to the treasurer there. Thank you, and everybody stay safe.
Yep. Thank you, Art. Appreciate that. I know that you put a lot of work into that catalog and everything, pricing everything, and doing all the legwork to make that happen. And I know that's a big job, and we certainly appreciate it. But yeah, I don't have any objections to you taking what's left and bringing to the next time we actually get to meet. And I don't think any other board members do. If they do, they can let us know. But like I say, I know you put a lot of work into it, and even taking stuff to Hamcom and doing a lot of things that you went over and above, and made a little money, quite a bit of money for the club, and we appreciate it. And some people got some deals on stuff they can use. So, right. Anybody else? Anything else? If not, thank everyone for joining us tonight. I'd rather be talking to you live and in person, but that's not able to happen. And hopefully soon we will be able to happen. But until we see each other again, we'll call this meeting a done deal and close it up, and hope to see you all in person soon. Good night.